What is going on YouTube? This is Dirty Kid and welcome to another video guide for Basketrio. Season 4 is finally here, and just to show how grateful I am to those people who follow and watch my videos, I'm gonna share my 9 tips to becoming a better player. Now, a big disclaimer before we start, I am not a pro player by any means. As a matter of fact, I create video guides because I make so many mistakes that I wanted to share it to everyone so you can all avoid them as much as possible. I wasn't able to play enough ranked games in Season 3 due to personal reasons, but I'm hoping that I can play more games this month if possible. So if you guys are ready, then let's get dirty.
Come on, man. It's time to get this.
You gotta make that money, make that more money, make that money, make that more money, make that money, make that more money, make that, make that, make that. You gotta make that money, make that more money, make that money, make that more.
Let's start with tip number 9. Whenever you're defending someone who's using the dash dribble, aka crossover, I'd highly recommend that you stop moving immediately, because as soon as you move to the opposite direction where he will drive, you're gonna get your ankles broken and you'll have no choice but to watch him take an open shot. I'm gonna be honest here, I don't feel that the shake resist passive skill works, so I decided to not use it anymore and replace it with something else more useful. I did check out the top 10 players before Season 3 ended, and I noticed that only 1 or 2 players have shake resist equipped in their skill set, so I'm not sure if it's a bug or maybe shaking an opponent is really designed to be more powerful than resisting it stat-wise. Let me know down in the comments whether you think shake resist is helpful or not. Tip number 8. If you play center, I highly recommend that you try to build for a reliable mid-range jump shot once you have enough training points. Here's a sample recommendation of a level 50 build, and feel free to take a screenshot, but again, take it with a grain of salt since I'm not a center main. But being able to shoot away from the rim can let your entire team play ISO, which is an extremely powerful offensive strategy, especially if you have a small or power forward as your main scorer in the team. Tip number 7. When you play shooting guard and you go against another shooting guard, don't prioritize on blocking too much. Instead, focus on getting in your opponent's interruption zone as quickly as you can whenever he attempts to shoot the ball. Of course, unless you're in the best place to perform a block. Shooting guards are the weakest blocker in the game. They're the only position who doesn't have the power block, but they excel in interrupting someone else's three-point shot. Take note that sometimes when blocking a shot with the wrong distance and timing could give the opponent an open three-point shot if they use the fadeaway. Tip number 6. When you play point guard, avoid spamming the alley-oop pass, because this can easily be read and prevented by your opponent's big man with the proper block timing. And to be honest, I rarely see this skill being used in the Hall of Fame and Legend ranks. The best way to use it, if you're gonna ask me, is when you combine it with the jumper pass, which would make any defender attempt a block at the wrong player. Tip number 5. When playing small forward, it's not necessary to max out your mid-range field goal because small forwards already have a considerable amount of it from the get-go. It's more about how you can make an open shot for yourself when being heavily guarded by a good defender. Having a good amount of stamina plus maximum run speed can definitely help your small forward become more deadly in the offensive round. Tip number 4. For all power forwards out there, take note that the catch and spin drive cannot be performed if the ball will be coming from an overhead pass. So a good practice is to always maintain a good distance between you and your teammate who's holding the ball, and also make sure that you're facing away the rim before receiving the ball to successfully perform this amazing skill. Tip number 3, if you have enough resources to evolve a secondary character to at least D or C rank, then do it. Sometimes you'll be in a very odd lineup, especially when you're on solo queue, and you might find yourself in a situation where at least one player in your team has to adjust. One example of a lineup that I'm not a big fan of is a center, plus a power forward, plus a small forward. I believe that having a guard in that lineup will be more effective and balanced. I would choose a point guard over the power forward in that lineup, or a shooting guard over the small forward if I'm gonna have two big men in the team. Tip number 2, for those players who are just starting out in completing their S card set, do not rank them up right away. Instead, keep drawing the same cards and collect them in your inventory until you find the card with a substat that you want. Then that's the time you can level them up. This is the most efficient way in ranking up your S cards because resetting those substat is definitely not cheap at all. And last but not least, tip number 1. This is more of a mindset kind of thing and not really a technical one, but if you ever experience a game where your teammates are missing so many shots or getting blocked all the time by their defender, don't be too toxic to the point where you start throwing the game because you just lost all your patience. Sometimes we forget to give our opponents some credit with a simple realization that, hey, maybe you're just doing really great in defending, that's why your team is having a hard time scoring points. I'd say defending is way more difficult than scoring, so if you want to win more games, try your best in improving your defensive skills. I personally is just an average defender and I still need a lot to learn. And that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to see more, go ahead and click on the like button and subscribe. I'm gonna see you next time right here on Dirty Kid Gaming.